So good evening everyone, welcome to the Eastleigh Town Council Policy and Finance meeting on the 11th of February 2026. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone this meeting is being recorded in accordance with the Council's recording meetings policy. Recording of the meeting will be uploaded to the Council's website in due course. If any members of the public do not wish to be filmed, please let us know and we'll direct you to somewhere you're not covered by the camera. Presenters and speakers will be recorded, but those preferring not to be recorded can submit written representations to the clerk. Allocate 20 minutes to start of the meeting public participation, up to 5 minutes per speaker. Items not on the agenda cannot be debated today. Respectful conduct is expected at all times. Disruptive behaviour will not be tolerated and the chair may intervene or ask individuals to leave the meeting to maintain order. Councillors, by attending this meeting tonight, you've decided you abide by Section 25 of the Localism Act 2011 and are attending this meeting with open minds to hear and receive and participate in debate for motions brought. You agree to cast your votes in a reasoned and considered manner. Should any councillor therefore believe they are unable to do so or would wish to ensure transparency of commitments to other bodies, please make sure you declare them when invited to do so. Okay, first item is apologies for absence.
We've received apologies from Councillor Park due to family, Councillor Constable due to work, Councillor Marks due to holiday, Councillor Phillips due to holiday, and Councillor Barrett due to holiday.
Okay, are you happy to accept those apologies?
Not propose.
A seconder? And those in favour? Okay, accepted. If they're all having a lovely time wherever they are. Next item is register of interest and dispensations to receive any declarations of interest regarding items on the agenda. Anything received? No. Lovely. Then on to minutes of the last meeting to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 10th of December 2025. Does anybody have any questions about these minutes? Yes, Ben?
Will the action points be picked up in a minute?
Action points will be, yeah.
Thank you.
But there's no issue with the accuracy of the
Cool.
minutes. Do I have a proposal for those minutes then? In the second. All in favour? Thank you. Thank you. And then the next item is to receive an update on matters arising which are not included in the agenda. The clerk would like to take through those.
As in the Action 1 finance reports, the clerk to update the committee on the service charges for the village. Is that what we're referring to? Sorry.
Yeah, so the actions that were from the previous meeting were the clerk to request a quote for a fidelity guarantee and update the committee. So myself and the clerk are meeting with an insurance broker on Monday. So we will come back to the committee with a quote once received. And the second action was for the clerk to ensure the outline of budget was uploaded to the council website. I had thought it was uploaded, but it seems it's not quite there, so I will ensure that is uploaded tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Does that cover your questions, Councillor Bakewell?
Nope. Because in the minutes of the last meeting, unless I've missed something, there was about the village charges and the net position for the updated summary net position. I'm sure would have been done anyway. And there's also the costings for additional polling stations. So unless I've missed something...
So the Deputy Clerk did just update about village charges, that's also on the agenda.
Is it? Where?
It's not on the agenda, the village charges, but the actions that you're picking up from the last minutes, they are the actions that were discussed at the last meeting.
But there's no... It's got an action, but it's got no resolution other than currently working, which if we are still currently working is fine, but it's not an action that can be closed.
No, it's not an action that can be closed.
So is it an action that needs to be carried on the agenda so it doesn't get missed and lost?
We wouldn't normally carry them forward.
We don't normally.
Well, come the next meeting, we won't have the minutes of the last meeting in front of us, so we won't be even looking at the action for Vivid. So how are we going to carry on keeping track of whether that action has actually been done? So it needs to be noted somewhere so that you can actually keep an action of the of the actions, which obviously means that we get an answer, but also it helps staff as well, because it is very easy to miss things, to forget things, and that. So,
if I may, I'm a little confused on layout, and I haven't sat and read everything down to the last bit. The actions that we're looking at on the minutes were the actions from the previous meeting that have got a respond on them, because it says the clerk confirmed that the updated summary included in this committee meeting reflects the revised summary in that position.
agreed on that one, but not on the Vivid one.
The clerk confirmed that this is currently working on service charges for Vivid. Yes, I can give you an update on that one, which is where we struggle with is understanding what part of what we have to charge them. So the previous charge was a simple one-off figure. We've been trying to attach that figure to actual costs that we have incurred on their behalf. There is nothing in their lease or contract that tells us that we can charge them the amount that has previously just been levied at them, and we're informed they have not paid. So there are actual bills that we have paid on behalf of the tenants of the building, and we also have other bills. An example, as we have at the moment, we have a drain that regularly blocks. It costs us to get it unblocked, but the reason for blocking it, we believe, is nothing to do with the first or second floor. Therefore, those charges would need to be also passed across. So it is an action we will complete before the year end, but it's not as simple as we believed it to be initially. We would like to have a charging mechanism that is repeatable and justifiable.
Thank you.
But yes, we will carry that action forward.
Yeah, and that's the point. Is this, I can fully understand if it's it's complicated and it hasn't been done, but it's just how it's an action that hasn't been finalised in the minutes, so it's still open, and it's how you track that action so it doesn't drop off, because it safeguards both councillors and staff. Like I said initially, I can the summary and net position, obviously done, but again I haven't seen anything about the costings for additional polling stations. So whether that is something that's still ongoing, which is fine if it is.
I take your point.
Yeah.
And we will ensure that we gather up all of the actions into some sort of a matrix at the bottom of minutes, so that they are quite clear and can be run forward.
Yeah, that's the point. It's not the fact that the actions may or may not have been done. It's how we keep a track of them, and that. So that So that's the real point.
I think the clerk's idea of having a matrix at the end would be a lot more straightforward as well. Thank you. Is there any update on the polling stations, or have we not had that now?
Yes and no. They have said that they are considering it. There is no additional costings that they're able to provide for us at the moment, and the last communication we had was we're putting an extra line on the polling cards that are going out. We won't charge you for it. So I don't quite know what process is going on at the moment in there, apart from obviously it's a difficult situation for them because they're having to realign the ward boundaries for us at the same time and put things together. So I'm sure they will let us know as soon as they do know.
Okay.
But we will send a chaser email on that one.
Thank you very much. Okay, is that all of the actions from the last 2 meetings that we wanted to review? Wonderful, thank you very much. Okay, so then item 2 is public participation. No? Okay, that's fine, thank you. And then we're on to RFO finance reports to the 31st of December. To receive the finance report for the period 1st to the 31st of December. So that's received.
It's not in the meeting book. Obviously, there are the associated reports to it, but you notice my comment at the very beginning of it, which is it's difficult to actually produce. I would like to have produced a report that went to the end of January 2026, but on the day that I have to get these reports out to you is only the day that they actually provide me, maybe sometimes, the report for the previous month's interest that's applied to our CCLA account. So when we are setting the meetings for this coming year, if we could go for week 3 of the month, that means that the papers, the accounts can be completed, the papers can be made week 1, the papers can be prepared week 2, and then we actually have it up to date. But we are up to date, and also we are providing the forecasting which we provided in the budget. As you can see, we've got plenty of cash in hand at the moment. We have moved some around between the savings account and the current account. Our reserves balance are there, and I've looked at the cash flow going forward, because obviously we have quite considerable expenditure with capital expenditure that we've brought forward, but based on that we still will not need to take any money out of the CCLA account, which gives us the highest yield.
Okay.
Actually we'll end up the year with, I think, let's say £67,000, £55,000 left. No, I don't.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any questions on the finance report? And then we have a resolution.
So the receipts and payments are now getting quite considerable on their own, and whereas I was running a receipts and payments report as a composite report, we've now got that many transactions that are going through. I thought it would be easier and safer to actually run them as a receipts report and a payments report separately. So if you would review them in that manner, that would be easier.
So, sorry, did you say receipts first?
Yes, please.
That's the good.
We're looking at the payments, yes?
No,
Receipts first.
We're doing the receipts first, okay. No, that's fine, my question's to do with payments.
I'll propose the receipts.
Yeah, quite happy with that.
In favour? Okay. Happy with receipts. And then payments. Councillor Vickman.
I have a question, and it's just a straightforward question, and I wrote down a number because I thought I need to find it, and I wrote down line 374, and now I can't find the
Survey costs?
And yes, it was a survey cost, but I can't
Page
find...
4.
Sorry?
Page 4, near the top, about a third of the way down.
Page 4.
Survey costs.
There it is, yeah, because it doesn't run in numerical order. And it was just a survey cost to Carter Jones for 5,760, so it was just a simple question as to what was it, what were those survey
It was
costs.
a building, the level 4 RICS survey for the Energy Youth.
That's fine, that's fine, that's fine, it's just a straightforward question, because it just said survey cost is a bit vague. And just out of interest, actually, looking at that, I only just sort of picked it up because I was looking at the figures on the right and then went to the line and really wasn't paying much attention to the numbers on the left. Is there any particular reason why they're not in numerical order? Because I was looking then obviously to find my £5,700, I was looking on the left for 374, and of course I then couldn't find it.
They're in date order, aren't they?
Well, those lines are the same date, so...
I have absolutely no idea why they are in different order.
How helpful
Is it?
of the system.
Is there a way of actually sorting it and filtering it? No, the report is fairly standard unless they export it out to Excel.
Okay, well next time then, as well as writing down the left-hand date when I've actually found something, I'll have to make sure that I put down the date as well, because the date at least the dates
Actually,
are in the correct
voucher
order.
code's fine, because you can simply
Oh, you can search for
hit
it.
Control F on it when you're actually looking at the sheet, and it will show you it.
Mm.
It lands
I'm
on
not
the
that
time.
clever.
Well, if you write the code down, we can find it.
Right, I just use the scroll finger and touch screen. I'm not that clever.
Is that worth raising with Scribe? Because it could be a bug.
I can raise it with them.
What does the number mean?
It's
It's the voucher
number.
code. It's the transaction number. Basically, that is the 374th payment that I have
Right.
keyed into the system since the 1st of April.
Oh yeah, they're in a
Last
random
year.
order though, aren't they? Weird.
Oh, hang on.
They're not even in alphabetical for the date. No. Who knows?
Doesn't matter. Anyway, are there any other questions? Oh, yep, Councillor.
Yeah, I think so. Hang on a second. I'll come back to that. I've got here 4625.2, which is where we are at the moment. And hang on a second, I might have had the wrong report or even the wrong minute number. But it's to do with capital expenditure.
No, that's the next item.
Right. So it's probably 4525.3 then. Right,
Okay, so no more questions on the payment first.
No.
Okay, do I have a proposal for those? Second. I'll second it then.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
in
no.
favour?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for preparing those, please. So that's then to receive the summary and opposition reports to the 31st December, which I received. Do you have any questions on those?
I think so.
This is the summary of receipts and payments.
Well, here's the question. You can fit it in wherever you feel like. Yeah.
Go on then.
Hang on. No, it is the actual report that is entitled 4625.2 Capital Expenditure in relation to ground maintenance.
That's the next item.
Yeah, they're not on that item yet.
So why have we... yeah, that's right. I've got a 45 and 46 modelled up. Yeah, right. Why can't we have agenda items of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Like every other committee and council I sit on.
There is an answer to that.
Oh, because you want the answer.
No. I just want 1, 2, 3, 4 because then it's easy.
Okay, anyway, let's move on from that then. So we've received those, there are no questions. So now on to assets, to receive an update on expenditure relating to cable works office remodelling.
So that's just a verbal update to say that the asset committee approved a £20,000 budget facility from the £40,000 for major works that was passed across at the time that we took the building on, to do a variety of different work, and that work will commence on the 21st of February and complete. It is well within budget, or not well within budget, but it is within budget, as in late 17,000s. Therefore, we don't anticipate having any budget pressure to actually complete the job.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other questions on that?
No.
Which goes on to item 4625.2, capital expenditure in relation to grounds maintenance, purchase or hire. Does the deputy clerk want to take us through this report?
Obviously, we have a budget that we have to be prudent with. In order to get the best offers, deals, we may have to negotiate. We will at all times try to ensure that the prices are keen, let's put it that way. But to fit everything that we require into a relatively small budget for the items we do require, and the list was provided, it would be useful to have an agreement or a steer from this committee, a resolution from this committee as to whether or not you would permit us to negotiate lease hire.
Okay.
I have put in the background as to our financial regulations and also the general regulations as to whether or not council can sign leases. Obviously they can, and under what basis. And so that's what this is brought to you tonight, to raise that question, please.
Okay. That's the big one.
Okay, so my initial question was, that we've got an allocated capital budget of £67,000, and then at the bottom we have the list of capital expenditure and the equipment that was actually listed there, and £67,000, I think you could be hard pushed to buy that list of equipment with £67,000. However, if you're looking about leasing that equipment for £67,000 a year, then that's a different thing altogether. So there's sort of two questions there. If, you know, is that 67? You know, we've got that equipment there. Is that £67,000 going to buy it, lease it? If we buy it, then where are we going to store it?
No, if we buy it, and it's irrelevant whether we buy it or lease it, we've still got to store it somewhere.
Okay, so there's another question
so
there.
Yes, we do have a facility to store it.
And that is?
I cannot say in an open meeting.
Okay. And in which case then, is that £67,000 to purchase this stuff or to lease it? Because obviously a flatbed and a large van would eat up and a trailer would eat up quite a large chunk
so
of a digger.
£67,000 was based on a line in time when we went on to a variety of second-hand van, used van vendors, and we scoped out all of those things that you have in front of you, and it came to £67,800.
Okay.
When we go back onto to look at things, there are compromises that we may make, should we require, as in buy slightly older vehicles, but where we can actually purchase vehicles that potentially have a higher mileage because they've travelled further, when we're using them for the next 3 years to 4 years, so we can put a replacement programme, a planned replacement programme in place to even out the costs for the residents, they won't be travelling anywhere near as far, and therefore they will be serviced, and you know, their value will actually represent a better value at the end of it for resale, because we'll have evened out the mileage. It is a safety net of, would the council consider allowing me to have the delegated power to negotiate leases if we required it to actually purchase the equipment that was in front of us. As I say, when we actually scope them all out, we have a spreadsheet that says where we could have bought those vehicles from, but we had to do this in November, and we are now February. Those vehicles are no longer available.
So at the time of doing it, £67,000 was a realistic figure for the vehicles, diggers, mowers.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the vehicles that are the big money and the trailers. I mean,
so as an example, even tonight, if I went on and looked for the flatbed greens, I can purchase a flatbed greens, which is 4 years old, that's got 75,000 miles on it for just under £10,000.
Okay. I mean, obviously, you know, purchasing stuff that's
one of
second
the
hand.
largest one.
Yeah, I mean, you don't, for a start, get the depreciation from the day you stick it, you know, take it off the forecourt and stick it on the road, and that. So yeah, okay.
I think the only question I've got is whether it's possible or appropriate to use a capital budget for leasing.
There is an element of capitalisation you can do. However, we do have so the initial payment for a lease is usually a large payment up front. The ongoing payment, that we do have funds that we believe that we could use some of in the grounds maintenance budget to offset the cost on the capital side of things.
There's no reason why you can't use capital for revenue.
Well, this is why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's...
There are all sorts of rules about you can't do that.
No, but if you think about it, that's
to
what we're doing with our family support worker, and that's capital that's funding something for 3 years, which is revenue. And that's, you can use capital for revenue as long as you don't use capital to prop up your revenue budget. But you can use capital to fund something for a number of years. Obviously, at the end of those number of years, you've either got to continue the service or continue with said vehicle, or you've got to replace it. So you can there's nothing to stop you using capital for that sort of thing, to fund something for a number of years.
Thank you.
capitalisation of revenue costs. You can capitalise a project manager
Mhm.
cost for a project. So yeah, you can capitalise.
That's fine.
Obviously, with vehicles, though, you've got them. We want them indefinitely, so it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't have any issue with it. I think if it gives you more flexibility to negotiate a decent rate for us and perhaps get more appropriate vehicles, then I don't see any problems.
I'll propose.
Got a propose and a seconder. All in favour? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item is policies and procedures to receive and approve the risk register.
So this is the updated risk register. So you've had a risk register before. It is in an improved version. So one of the policies we had was that we were going to amend it to a red, amber, green style risks and have different types of risks. So originally there were 8 different management risks that we had. Myself and the clerk went to the practitioners conference a few weeks ago, and it was recommended that duty of candour becomes a risk on the risk register. So I have added that for you. Do we have any questions?
Don't know.
No.
Any questions?
With which one is it? Council management? No, it might be. There's one that obviously covers councillors and the training and such like. Could be number 4. Could it be? Potentially, there's a slight risk that obviously after May, you could end up with a very new council. Because obviously a risk register is for any point in time, and it's an evolving, moving document. It's not something that's set in stone. So actually, with a new council, then that actually could put risks up higher. Because obviously, I've noticed throughout in various sections there's a risk about the chair and the vice chair. After May, we don't know what that's going to be. So potentially those risks, as we sit here at the moment, are potentially higher than what they are as we sit here at the moment. I mean, obviously in 6 months' time, a year's time, when this is reviewed again, those risks can go down. But actually, for continuity of the council from council members, then there actually is a potential risk there. You could end up with entirely 22 completely new members. It's possible. I hope not, but it is possible. And therefore, with all the work that that staff have done, and councillors have done, in agreeing stuff and putting policies and making decisions and stuff, then you're going to have a potential lag. So therefore, that then does increase a risk. But other than that, I think it's a good document, and it's something that does need reviewing on a regular basis. Now we've got one like this up and running, so to pick out things and that. But that's just one risk that I see. I mean, you've got risks of staff to leave, but you've got an all-up election with 22 potential new people and a new council.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Richardson.
Just picking up on Councillor Bicknell's point, I wonder if number 1 on that covers that council lacks relevant skills to carry out its functions. I wonder if that would cover potentially some of that.
If I may suggest that we put an entry into the further actions required to mitigate risk, which is to ensure training is put in place May 26 for new councillors.
That still gives you a lag, but so your risk is still increased. I mean, you've got it as amber anyway, so I mean, it's not green. Would I want to necessarily put it at red? Don't know. How severe would it be? The severity is quite low.
Well, I mean, strictly the risk, we shouldn't presume the risk, we should re-rate the likelihood of severity. So I think what you're suggesting is that the likelihood is increased.
Yeah. I mean, in 6 months' time, it won't be, but as I say, at the moment, there is a potential risk.
So you increase the likelihood from 2 to 3, which would turn it to a 9 automatically, hopefully.
Okay.
I don't know whether you want to change the risk with reference to the chair as well.
Okay. The other one I was wondering about was whether we've got anything in there here relating to the merger of the councils and things falling between the cracks in the process of that. Just wonder if it's a risk that ought to be identified, which is obviously being controlled because we're doing everything we can to be on top of that, but it does still feel like a risk that is there.
We have that in CM18 then.
I'm not editing anything, but
I noticed that council has no disaster recovery plan. You've got that as amber, but actually we're covered by EBC's emergency plan, which is superseded by Gold Command and Hampshire County Council. Would we need that in amber, or is that just the belt and braces? Because actually we would just follow direction from EBC, who follow direction from Hampshire County Council and Gold Command. Is it a risk to us that we haven't got one?
which one is that?
CM16. The only reason I say it is, I mean, I'm not overly worried about it if it stays as it is, but it's just, and I skipped over it and didn't make a note. But the justification is correct. EBC emergency plan in place for borough-wide disaster. And that wouldn't necessarily be a borough-wide disaster, even if, say, Monksbrook was going to spill out onto Parswood Avenue, God forbid, that would still be covered by EBC. So
I think now that we have buildings that could accommodate disaster recovery, that's why it would be further a risk, because we now have space to accommodate if there was such a thing.
but it would be under the direction of EBC, and of course they sit with Gold Command and Hampshire County Council, wherever it is when there is a disaster. It all comes down from county, and I would assume then the unitary authority. And then if there was requirement for community buildings, they would then go to the parishes straight away. I'm not worried if it's just a comment. I mean, it makes no difference whether it stays as amber or goes to green. I'm quite happy for either.
Councillor Richardson.
I was just going to say, I think maybe the risk is too high, but I'm not overly concerned. I think it will be a nice. I think it will be a nice thing to have, and certainly when I've been to, I think it was a HALC conference. They're very big on parishes having emergency plans and things in place. So I think it's something for us to aspire to have. Whether the risk is too high, I'm not that bothered personally.
I suppose looking at it another way, I don't know if it's just the point the Deputy Clerk was making or not, but even if the Borough Council or the County Council is going to be dealing with the disaster, the fact that they may be asking us to use our facilities is a risk to our business in terms of what we might otherwise be using those facilities for. So obviously we're going to say no in that circumstance, but it's a risk that we have to recognise in terms of the impact that may have on people who would otherwise be using our facilities. So, but yeah, otherwise, I think everything was said. Councillor Richardson.
I'm happy to propose with the changes that we've gone through, that CM18 added and then the change to the risk rating for the
Okay.
elections.
Can I second that?
Happy with that?
All in favour? Thank you very much. So then we're on to the precept communication. To receive and review the draft precept communication to be sent to residents and agree the method of distribution and approve the associated budget provision. So first of all, I'd like to thank the clerk and the deputy clerk who actually authored the communication for all the work that went into it, because it's really good,
I can
comprehensive
take no
document.
credit.
Councillor Richardson.
I'm not sure we need to agree the actual wording of the whole communication in this meeting.
It's
I think
not
that
what's on
the
agenda.
principle of it and the method of distribution, yeah, but I don't think we need to go through it line by line and reword it here.
My only other question really about it was what our timeline would be in terms of needing to agree what the actual communication looks like, depending on what method of distribution we decide on.
I would like to get it laid out professionally so that actually it fits onto a format that is the most cost-effective format that we can. I obviously would like some imagery in there or some decoration around it, because otherwise it's a lot of words. It is a lot of words because I took a steer from the committee and the council saying that we really need to explain to our residents how we got here this year. We can't simply say, hello, it's this amount. We hope you don't mind, it's a lot less than everybody else's, therefore here we go. So the actual commentary that I've had so far on the maybe this goes in instead of, you know, a change, no, first change and second change are maybe the other way around, yes, valid points. The comment about imagery showing a map, yes, that would be part of how the design would fit together. The comment, the one thing I think that I got lost in, it was Friday afternoon with no assistance of the alcoholic, which probably would have helped. If you come all the way down to the bit where I completely lost my way in describing how we fund this, and you'd be horrified to know I had about 8 of these green boxes and I rationalised it to 2, and obviously I still didn't pick the one that made the most sense. So I think that there are some better graphics that we have. We just need to ensure that those graphics are correct, which would happen after Eastleigh Borough Council actually set their council tax, which I believe is happening next week, is it?
26th of February, is it?
So that would be the date that we would be able to make absolutely certain as to what those boxes of what our precept was, what the special expenses, what their precept was, and therefore what the total council tax was, and show our residents that it hasn't actually gone up significantly. So the actual wording, the syntax, the rephrasing, I have absolutely no issue with, you know, calling it developers' contributions rather than S106, absolutely valid point as far as I'm concerned. I think we just have to provide graphics that we think would be of assistance and provide it to a design team that we're working with for the website and ask them how much to actually lay it out in a different format, or ask our printers to do that.
It's just, you know, obviously there's comments there, but I mean overall it's a very good document, very detailed, and all the information is there. Whether, you know, we agree it's in the perhaps correct order, and that is another matter. But it's always better to comment on something that somebody else has done than starting from a blank piece of paper. So thank you, Ruth, for actually starting with the blank piece of paper, and that. But there is a lot of information there, and I think it was in an email that Alex sent. The reality of life is that most people won't read it because it's too long. People don't read one double-sided page of A4 explanation that comes with their council tax bill from Eastleigh Borough Council, the first page being what the actual money is. Because people still believe that all of their council tax goes to EBC and don't read that the 70% goes to Hampshire County Council, chunk goes to the fire and to the police, and then actually you end up with about 12-13% that actually goes to Eastleigh Borough Council. So whilst it is admirable that we're going to try to communicate, the vast majority of residents won't read it. So I do wonder if, you know, more graphics, as has been said, and perhaps shorten it. Do they need all of the detail that's in here to bring it down from, what is it, 5 pages at the moment? So that would be the only overall comment. From where we are now, I mean, you know, obviously you've done a lot of work on this, and it's really good.
Just conscious that we're not agreeing on the communication itself at this meeting. So, I'm going to ask Councillor Richardson.
I was just going to say on that point, it's a good point, but I also think on the flip side, when people start coming to us and moaning, we can say, well, actually, here's what we put out. We have told you, we've clearly explained it.
Yep.
So I'm all for bombarding them with the information personally. And if they choose not to read it, then that's on them.
Agreed. I would agree with that as well.
I agree with the principle. I just think, as it's been discussed, I think having it all set out as it is here is really helpful as the starting point. I think that the next iteration is trying to condense the volume of information that's written. I feel like the big table that's like we said, what we added, what we will add. I think if it were more graphical, we might be able to remove sort of the denseness of the text perhaps.
You do have to be careful that people don't feel patronised, because the people that actually want the information. So what you may want to do then is do 2. A very short, very pointed, this is what we're doing, this is what we've done, this is your precept, and
visit the website here for
visit
the full,
the website to receive the full work. So those that are interested in it can. It's my experience that actually the point that Councillor Richardson made is that if you put it out there, it does prevent the arguments, which is that you have taken the time to explain it to them. If they choose not to read it, they can't really, they haven't got an ability to actually complain that you didn't make the effort to tell them exactly why.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially if you're sticking it through the letterbox.
Yes.
Which very neatly brings us back onto the agenda. So, what is the method of distribution that we want to go with? Do we have any quotes?
Is it not in there?
You put your
We're in the paper. There's 2 quotes.
precept communication distribution.
Oh yes, sorry. What's that? We do have quotes. Perfect.
I would like to point out, however, that the quotes, so when we were looking at the quotes, we were naively looking at an A4 paper, one per household. So should it be more than one A4 paper per household, the cost will increase significantly.
What, £2,000 for each A4?
No.
So the £2,000 is for printing, folding envelopes, addressing them, and inserting them into the envelopes for price 1, and then the postage would be £9,000 approximately. So the total, if we were to go through a fulfilment and delivery via a third-party company, that would be £11,000. This is approximate cost for 10,000. We have recently gone through the process of requesting the electoral roll, so we will have greater numbers at that point, but this is where we've started. And then the second one was in-house printing, addressing, folding and delivery by temporary staff. So this would be us at ETC recruiting staff, so we'd have to go through the process of recruiting some temporary staff, and they would printing in-house, so with our printer. On
We don't have to print it now. Do you have to print it now?
yes, oh no, I think I changed that actually. Hang on. Yes, I did.
You did,
Sorry.
you've not saved it on this.
No, I have changed it. It's cheaper. Sorry.
Right.
So again, this was another Friday. So so printing and envelopes would be out-housed, so it would outsource, so they would print it. I'm sorry, I've confused myself here now.
I have seen a version of this that the Deputy Clerk has provided that used the printing cost alone and then in-house, so we had it printed externally and then brought it in-house.
I think that is the cost for it, it's just not been, it's not,
Not addressed
I'm sorry.
and delivered it.
So I'm assuming it would be the £2,000 from the top one, plus the £3,500 from the bottom one.
Roughly.
Yes.
Slightly less, but roughly.
So it is a cheaper option to employ staff in-house. However, obviously this costing does not include the officer time to recruit and organise casual workers or any potential uplift that we might face in insurance for those casual workers.
Understood. Councillor Richardson.
We've got to get this right. It's got to happen. I think it's far easier, although it's more expensive, to just go with the Royal Mail option because we know the vast majority of it will get delivered, it'll get done, it isn't going to cause the officers as much time as option 2 would. And it's a one-off big hit that we've got to get right. So I'm personally in favour of method 1, using a third-party company, whether that's Royal Mail or whoever, to post it and get it done. And just absorb that cost because we've absolutely got to get the comms right around this. So I think we just take the hit on this occasion. Appreciating that it's obviously a hell of a lot more expensive, but when you factor in all the things that doesn't include, I don't think it'll be much different.
Yeah.
And our officers are busy enough with everything else that's going on that we just need to outsource this and get it done.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's a third middle ground option. Sorry to say this, but well, there's two. One is the Royal Mail does unaddressed delivery, but that's only done by postcode sector, so it may not be a direct one-to-one mapping of you're going to get to town, but it is a lot cheaper than addressed. Or the other is that we use a third-party delivery company, so instead of bringing on staff ourselves, we just give it as a job to a delivery company, but then that does run the risk that how reliable is that company?
The issue you have with the unaddressed is that it goes with your pound round. So it's just an envelope pushed in a load and therefore you
Goes in the bin.
almost are wasting your funds sending it through that way. A delivery company may be an option, a third party, but we have a couple of magazine networks that don't actually fulfil the requirements that we need by way of geographical area, nor really by profile. One of them is more established, the other one is not established and is not got good recognition yet. So again, that would go through the door and go through the bin.
Sorry, Councillor Bickmore is that open?
Obviously that £2,000 is going to increase if we're going to be on 2.5 A4s, 5 pages. I mean, I'm sure we can at least get down to 2 A4s, double-sided. Whether or not we're not going to get down, I shouldn't think getting 5 down to 2 is going to be a bit of a stretch with graphics. Be interesting to know how much that goes up by. And how are you intending on addressing it to the actual council taxpayer?
Using the electoral roll.
That won't get everyone though.
Pardon?
That won't get everyone though, unfortunately. Not everyone's registered to vote.
Well, we will sort it by unique addresses. So we would address it to the address. So to the homeowner of the address of 4 Hampton Gardens.
Yeah.
Even then, you're going to miss houses. I just know from my own experience that not every house has people who are registered to vote, but they may well still pay council tax.
But if you did it to every house, to the homeowner,
then that's fine, but you'll only have the address of the house if it's on the electoral roll.
Well, if we're going to go from the electoral roll, obviously Royal Mail has a definitive address of every property. So
Yes, so we'd need that.
Yeah, you would miss a few, but you miss a few out of 10,000
Close to 15.
households.
We worked that out today, yesterday, that evening.
Okay. Before I go to Councillor Richardson, there was one other thought I had, which was we said earlier around, do we have a shorter, more attractive version, and then the longer version is available for people who want the details, so maybe it's the shorter one that we post up to try and save on some of those costs. That directs people to the website or to come and visit us if they want the fuller version.
Your printing cost is minimal in comparison to your second class
Oh, I
postage.
appreciate that, yeah.
And we'll probably only add 50%, maybe 100. We may go from 2,000 to 4,000, but you're not going to go to £10,000
Yes, no,
for 5 pages.
Yeah. Councillor Richardson.
I'm not that interested in the detail of this. I think we should just be giving the officers a budget facility and let them work out how they're doing it.
Great.
I would be quite comfortable with trusting them. All I want us to achieve is that communication goes out to as many houses as possible using a reliable delivery company. How they choose to do that, I'm not that interested in, and I think we're probably getting into too much of the detail here. As long as that is happened and there's a budget to pay for it, I'm happy.
Okay, in which case my questions are, is £11,000 enough of a budget facility to make sure we can complete this? And where is it coming from in the budget?
I don't think it can be if we're going to go up to at least 284.
I think we need to increase the... Yeah.
At least double that to make that 11 on option 1, 13,000.
Sorry, what was that number?
13,000.
13.
For the first one, it allows another £2,000 for extra A4s to be
And if
folded.
you also take into account that was for 10,000 letters, not potentially 15,000.
Yeah.
Actually, there's 15,000 properties in the town.
There are 14,459 unique properties
Oh,
on the
it would as well,
electoral
don't we?
roll for Eastleigh Town Council. And Boyett Wood we're waiting on.
So that doesn't even include Boyett Wood.
So this we've had that information yesterday.
Where are we proposing the money comes from? Is there a budget? Well, we do have a
That's
printing
there,
line, don't we, and newsletter line that can pay for some of it. Obviously, not all of it.
With costs to even that level, there isn't a single budget that has any funds left that is in our budget that we've set aside. There, town newsletter has 3,500 in it.
We haven't spent that for 4 years, though. So can we just get it out of reserves?
We haven't. Well, you haven't made any reserving movement with it, but that means that it did fall into reserves at the end of the year. You do have reserves.
I would just personally take the money from reserves. That's what they're for. And this is a thing that we need to do. And it's money that we've budgeted for every year and not spent, so let's use the £2,000–3,000 a year that we've budgeted.
I just wanted to go back to a full council resolution not long ago that was for the newsletter budget to be used for the new council and a one-off letter to be sent regarding the new council.
Yeah, but that's in next year's budget.
And what can be next year.
Thank you for the reminder.
Apologies.
No, that's-
I'm personally happy to take money out of reserves to pay for this.
Can we not achieve both with the same thing?
The new council communication goes out in May, at the earliest, after the election, after all the councillors have had their photographs taken and have elected themselves into committees and approved which are the standing committees for the council. This communication will be made by Eastleigh Borough Council in middle of March normally, or beginning of March, with your council tax. that's the timeline really that we have to actually hit to get this out roughly at the same time.
Okay. Just having a look at the forecast for the budget spreadsheet, there's £16,300 projected underspend across grant sponsorship and the town newsletter from this year. So could we use that? If we gave you a budget facility of £16,000 from that underspend?
We've had no further grant applications, have we? And there won't be any now in this budget year, unless they come to full council.
No, they would return to a finance committee first, which will be
after.
So use the surplus in year from the democratic services budget.
Yeah, basically.
And that gives you a facility of 16,000, does it? Which I think will be more than enough. I'll propose that.
Backwards. No, that's how much we spent. Okay. Oh yeah, there's £18,000 that we haven't spent on the democratic services, so yeah, £16,000. Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
propose that.
We've got a second. All in favour? Wonderful. Yeah, the £16,000 budget facility.
1-6.
1-6.
1-6.
Not 6-0.
That'll be a long booklet.
I mean, good luck finding that from the democratic processes budget, but right. Can I put it? That was the last item on the agenda. Yes, it was. Okay, the next meeting is the 8th of April, 2026. Councillor Richardson.
Do we need to have that before April? I'm just thinking that's post technical merger of the two councils and a complicated period. Should we change that to the end of March so that we can get things done and dusted before? Because technically the new council starts on the 1st of April, doesn't it?
We're in pre-election period.
I mean, we can still do things that are council business as long as we're not,
Yeah.
saying things that we shouldn't be saying. But I wonder if it might be sensible to bring that to the end of March so that it is done before the council technically ceases to exist in its current form.
It is normally a meeting where the year-end figures are reviewed before the year is closed, which allows for approval of transfers into reserves rather than money excess funds falling into the general reserve, which is the natural movement.
So we're going to be
Because of the papers that are going to have to be produced very, very quickly at that point, I have already requested from CCLA that they give me a statement immediately. They'll do it as a one-off and annual statement to allow me to provide the figures that are required before the meeting so that you can look at it. I wouldn't be able to give a year-end figure if the meeting took place before the end of March.
Okay.
When does the community governance thing? When does it? Is it the 1st of April? Reorganisation.
On the 1st of April.
It is the 1st.
Which leaves 27 councillors standing.
So do we have to invite everybody?
There would be no reason why not.
I mean,
I don't know whether or not Wood Parish Council actually has a standing finance committee, or whether or not it's something that's done through main
No,
council.
I
apparently
don't
not.
think they have any committees.
They don't have any committees.
So it would be the committee of the Eastleigh Town Council plus the whatever arrangement was made for Wood Parish Council to review their finances that would be invited to the meeting.
Would they get a vote on that meeting?
No,
Why not?
because the council hasn't remade a committee meeting, terms of reference of committee, so you'd either have to stand it down altogether or you would continue with what is.
Okay.
It would be to deal with our own year end anyway. So
Yeah. Well, is it? Because how do Boyd Wood meet and do their year end if they don't exist after the 31st of March?
to take that on as a legal person to explain the varieties of the reorganisation.
It's complex and
order
it's quite irritating that
has
it's
made
started
it
on the 1st of April.
more
If it was
difficult.
pushed by a week, that would have helped, wouldn't it?
I think
Then everything could be tied off.
I think the advice is that we stick with the 8th of April for the
And
next
see,
meeting.
yeah, let's leave it as
So
that
we'll
for
leave
now.
it as that and we'll close the meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.